Hi, this is Ben from 561 Music Podcast. Right now, we're trying to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It just helps us get out there more. It also enables us to monetize the podcast, to make it better, do more advertising for it and things like that. Subscribe to the podcast and hit the notifications button. That would be doing us a really big favor. Thank you very much. Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben. What are you giggling about, Hector?
I don't know. You just took a deep breath right before you started. You were like, welcome to 561 Music. It's just funny. I'm Hector, by the way.
How's it going?
It's going fantastic, man. How are you?
Yeah, man. I'm great. Everything's rolling along in its general train. My best buddy Ollie's still here, so we've been hanging out.
Nice. You guys been doing a lot of fun stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I think yesterday I had most of the day off, and I can't remember a time I had most of the day off, and for like feels like years. So so I had a really nice time. We just messed about when I watched that stupid movie Cocaine Bear. So I can't say it's great, but it was pretty fun.
I mean, you didn't go into it expecting it to be great, did you?
No, exactly.
Okay. I mean, it's just entertaining.
Exactly. Exactly. And I did. I got to go to the beach a little bit over the past few days, which is, you always forget to go to the beach when you live here, you know what I mean?
You know, it's funny. I have people that come in from out of town all the time, and they're like, oh, it must be great living so close to the beach. And I'm like, who has time? That's a vacation thing, you know?
Exactly.
And I live literally like a minute and a half from a beach. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Totally. What did we get up to this weekend then? It was Das on Friday.
Yeah, that was fun. There was a good crowd there. There's always a good crowd there, so that was fun.
Yeah, I really like playing there. It feels... I think it's a stupid thing to say, but it feels like a real gig. They've got the stage off the ground, and there's always a bunch of people there enjoying themselves.
Yeah, and the stage face is out, so it's nice. People passing and stuff. It's a good time there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we were over at Paddy Mac's, and it was the first time that I played the hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah, Paddy Mac's was crazy Saturday, man. There was people from the Honda Classic. There was the usual crowd there. There was a whole bunch of chalk artists from the chalk event that came in to see us, and then you played the hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah.
And then you and James started having like some pedal battle or something where you would have the synth pedal and he's got the bit crusher, so that got out of control.
Yeah. It was good times,
but
actually.
It was fun, man. It was fun.
So tell us a little bit about this weekend for you.
Yeah, man, the Chalk Festival. This weekend was a little crazy for me because I played the gig. Well, I did a chalk piece on Friday for the festival. I did like a logo for them on the street, and then I did the I did the DOS gig on Friday night, and then Saturday I chalked all day, or I painted all day, and started working on a piece for my own, and then I played Paddy Mac's Saturday night, and then Sunday I finished the piece, and it was fun, man. It was a 3D Tonka truck, and you were able to sit and pose in it and stuff.
Yeah, it was cool. I saw it, man.
It was fun, man. It was a good time.
Very impressive. And we have a new thing, don't we?
We do have a new thing, and so we're going to bring the graphic up here. We have decided to create the 561 Music Hotline.
Yeah.
So now you can call 561-203-9122, and we realize that the show is not live and it's a little hard, and sometimes you're like listening or watching the show and you're shaking your fist and you're like, I wanted to ask this, or I wanted to say that, or or I have questions about the festival that they're talking about and stuff like that. Well, now you can call us at 561-203-9122. You can leave us a message. It could be a comment about the show you just watched. It could be maybe a suggestion for somebody that you think should be on here that you really like, that's maybe we haven't discovered yet, that we haven't heard from. It could be questions about the festival, whether they're whether questions about the lineup, questions about the timing, questions about really anything to do with the podcast or the 561 music scene in general. New venues that are popping up, things like that. Just drop us a line, give us a call, leave us a message, and we'll do our best to address any questions and concerns on the next podcast each week.
Yeah, exactly. Thinking of if there's a couple of good questions in there, we'll just give you as best an answer as we can.
Yeah.
We've reserved the right to completely ignore stupid questions.
Yes. yes.
But if they're stupid enough, then if they go past that point, then out the other side, then it'll come on.
And just to preempt some of the questions, the music festival is happening. The music festival is April 1st. The music festival is $10. Yes, Ben and I are married. No, James is not. So there you go. Those are the important things, you know.
So we have Shane, Kirk, John, and Rocky from 1983.
Yeah.
How's it going, guys?
Full table today, man.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. So what we do on this show is we talk about your motivations into getting into music, your history of your music, and try and delve a little bit deeper into what the band's all about as well. But the place that I like to start is, how did you find yourself playing music? What was your introduction to music? And why don't we start with you, Shane?
Yeah, it kind of started off, and I got started to get a feeling about music and wanting to get an instrument when I heard, actually it was the Stray Cats album.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
nice.
then, and I was like, wow, I wish I could do that. Then I heard Never Mind the Bollocks, the Sex Pistols, and I said, I can do that.
Yeah.
But let's start with bass. So I
Sure.
asked for a bass.
Oh, cool.
My dad got me a little Yamaha bass, a little Fender Champ.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And I started playing Sex Pistols stuff, a little Discharge here and there, and
Yeah.
it took off from there.
How old were you at this point?
13.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
Yorba Linda, California.
Okay, cool. So how many of you guys are from California?
2.
Okay, got it. Well, why don't we go on to Kirk? How did you find yourself playing music, mate?
Hi. Well, kind of the similar story. He took my story. I was going to say everything he said, but he was right about me asking for a guitar was when I finally heard something I thought I could do.
Yeah.
And what did you say, Stray Cats?
That was the first thing for me where
That's
I
really
was like,
that's
man,
really
that-
funny because it was very similar for me too.
Yeah, they're
It
a
wa-
very influential band. I mean, so awesome.
It was probably like who did that "Make a Circuit with Me" type that thing. Make a circuit with.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah. I started playing that a little bit. And
So
I
it
got
was
it from
good-
Best. I got it from a catalog from Best.
Did you?
Because I used to get this thing.
That's so awesome. Did you? So you started on guitar?
Yeah, and then I kind of gave it up. I had piano lessons and stuff, and I could read music and do piano lessons from I was 7 till 12, but it didn't really have too much.
Okay, so
Just the anger.
well, your
I was created
parents
from taking the
sounds
lessons.
like they were pretty supportive in terms
Yeah.
of just getting you playing.
Yeah, and we'll come back to me and instruments because it's like I just fill in the gaps in my band. Like I wouldn't,
Gotcha.
I'd be the 4th or 5th guitarist in most bands.
So what about you, John? How did you find yourself playing music?
I'm 29 now. I've been playing drums since I was 10.
Yeah.
Originally, how I got started was really seeing my dad play.
Okay.
I kind of grew up where my dad was already playing in bands.
Oh, cool.
He was kind enough to take me to gigs. I used to help him load and unload all his drums and everything.
So he was a drummer too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he? Was he instrumental in you learning them? Did he teach you some stuff?
Not really.
Right.
Not so much. It was mainly just I saw him play, and that was enough to get me inspired, to get me started.
Yeah, great.
And
Did you take lessons then, or
No.
just self-taught? Nice.
No, yeah, I'm self-taught.
Yeah, nice.
YouTube University
There you
goes a
go.
long way.
You got your teacher's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. What about you, Rocky?
Basically, almost same story, other than I started with guitar. My dad was a musician, and he started off, just grew up with guitars, records around, and amplifiers. So saw him doing it as a hobby, and I took it that's the calling there. So I was supposed to start pretty early, but then he evolved to other instruments. I went to the upright after guitar, played in the orchestra. My dad's church at the time needed a bassist, and they're like, "Oh, you're the guy." And I never learned bass guitar, so I just put upright and guitar both together, and that's when I was like, I like this one. So
Yeah,
I found
there
my
you
weapon of choice right there. So.
Well, I've been blessed enough to play with you a whole lot over the years.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Yeah. I'm pretty well versed in your story, and you've been on the show before and talked about it a little bit. It was lovely to have you today.
Yeah, happy to be back, man.
Yeah, man. So getting back to the band, 1983. How long have you guys been a band, and how did it all come together originally?
Well,
Sada started with Sada.
well, over here in Florida.
Yeah.
Shane and I have been playing in bands since we figured out earlier this afternoon because we didn't want to or any libel suits. So it was 1984
Oh, okay.
that we met,
Right.
and we started playing immediately. And like I don't remember the story, but his mom knew my mom somehow.
Right.
But
Your
so-
mom was the teller at Bank of America.
Yeah,
And
Mercury Savings.
And
your
my mom
had money.
talks to all tellers.
So you guys grew up like within a stone's throw of each other,
Yeah.
then, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think she was like they developed some relationships, like like that their sons were having problems with punk rock,
Right.
like they were
Right.
taking us away or something, like they were concerned,
Sure. Yeah.
you know. But so we've been playing together off and on for almost 40 years now.
That's so awesome. There
So-
must be a lot of sort of synergy between you now in terms of writing and just understanding how you guys think and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
So 1983 since 2018, and then
And that was here in Florida.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's a really good preparation for this album that we have coming out right now.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
What's that? Have you named the album that you have coming out right now?
It's NE3.
Ah, that's cool. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense.
Do you know why?
Why is that?
Because we thought 1983 was a great name, right? Because, oh yeah, everyone likes, you know. So anyway, it worked with the hats. Everyone wants the hats. They don't care about the band. It's like, yeah, I was born in
Yeah.
1983. Well, anyway, oh yeah, and it was before 1984.
My brother was born in 1983.
But you can't find us anywhere on the internet. You have to like write like 1983 Placentia, like the name of an album or something to really find
Right.
us. But I looked, NE3, there's like some random company we have to topple, and that's it.
I think it's like the
So we're gonna
name of an
connect us.
area in London as
It's
well.
only a failed.
Well-
it's only a failed energy drink company. That's it.
Right.
So yeah, it would be. It would be. So, but yeah, NE3, like, we're always going to be intertwined now. If we release an album, 1983, NE3.
Yeah.
So we can just say, just
Yeah,
look up NE3.
Yeah, because it's kind of I think that's very, very smart, and I've been noticing it on the merch today, and I'd seen some stuff online, and I was like, oh, so that's how they spell 1983. Okay, that's cool, but it's actually starting from this album, is
Yes.
it? Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right,
So
gotcha.
we didn't want to change the name because all 6,000 listeners would be erased or whatever. I get more worried about it than I should have. But
I know what you
figure
mean.
like
It's
you
scary
got
to
to roll
change
it
your
out at the
name.
same time.
Listen, social media is a big thing, and you don't want to make any big changes that's going to shift and
Right.
confuse people. So no, I think you guys are doing the right thing.
Yeah, I feel
And the NE3 is super brandable. I
Yeah.
mean, super brandable.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear
I
that.
love it with the old
Yeah, man.
X in there, getting nice and punk rock with it.
Keep it kind of old school. Yeah.
Chuck Luce at Iron Forge Press made those for us.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every now and again, I chat to him online. I don't know him super well, but I do through the interwebs.
Yeah, me too. But anyway, that's that stuff. But anyway,
That's awesome. So,
Thank you.
So you started in 2018, and you two have been playing. Why did you move to Florida, you guys?
He moved here originally, and I moved here just as a coincidence because my wife does real estate, right? And she wanted to do real estate with her mom, who lives in Boca.
Okay.
So I started coming here when I married my wife, obviously.
Right.
And
okay.
I love warm weather.
Yeah. Man.
I mean, it's just my thing. So when she said, "Hey, do you want to move to Florida?" I was instantly on board.
Oh,
Nice.
So I moved here in literally 2015, January 2015. And it's the day I moved here, I text Kirk and said, "Hey, man, guess what? I'm here. I'm in Boca." And I'm like, "Are you playing? What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm in this band,
did you
Sada."
ask me what I was wearing?
I think I asked what he was wearing first, yeah. And he said,
That's
"Yeah,
fair-
I'm in
that's a
this
fair
band,
question.
Sada, and actually our bass player might be on the way out."
Okay.
And I said, "All right, I play guitar, obviously, but I'm like, oh, hey, I wanted something to do and just to hang out again with Kirk."
Yeah. Sure.
So eventually that bass player left, and I started playing with his band, Sada.
oh,
and
nice.
And
That's when we met.
not
Rocky,
to
too.
get too far, but we were doing the Sada thing, and it was kind of like we were having some issues a little bit with the singer,
Right.
And
Oh, the other one.
yeah, the other one.
Yeah,
And one time we were at practice and the other members left, and we were like, let's just play some punk for the fun of it.
Oh,
And-
just to clear it
right?
up, because our singer will listen to this, and we love her.
Yeah.
It's when we were auditioning a singer to replace that singer.
Yeah,
Okay,
not the
gotcha.
original. Not
We're trying it, and we're like, we can never do this. We had that going against us, and
Yeah.
There's-
Not the original singer is on it.
Okay, got it.
But this
Yeah,
girl
yeah.
that we were showing that was auditioning is like, we're playing this stuff, her and I, Shane and I, kind of like comedians or something, like Bob Saget or something. You have a guitar and you're talking, then you stop and talk. But we're playing as hardcore.
Yeah,
The teacher's
yeah.
like, you guys forget this. You guys need to do that.
Yeah.
It was Morgan is who it was.
So
yeah,
much,
Morgan.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but at the time in
Morgan
Sada,
was trying out for
Kirk
something.
was playing drums, right?
Right.
And I wanted him to play guitar and sing.
Sure.
And so we ended up, Kirk called up a friend and got a drummer, and we were just originally a 3-piece and wrote about 3 songs just like naturally, like right on the spot.
Yeah.
And then we got a bass player, this guy Matt, and we're like, let's book a show, so we're forced to write a 15-minute set at least,
Sure.
right? So we
I've definitely done that
totally
before.
prematurely booked a show before we were even close to ready.
Yeah,
you know?
respectable. It's 11:30 Saturday
We
night.
were-
It's not a bad thing to do, honestly. It'll kick you up the ass, that's for sure. You
It
know.
was a good show.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was crazy.
No,
Yeah.
that's killer. So and then the band was born. That's right. So at this point, how many? You have 2 albums and 1 on the way. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. I'm curious about your writing process. We sort of just touched on it then, but do you have one? And if so, what is it? And if not, just tell us about how the songs end up getting written.
Do you want to start what a Tarantino it and start where you on this album where you come in?
I can only speak in reference to how I've written or how I've made the drum parts.
Well, while
Yeah,
they
that's-
figure that out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It is interesting because some of the songs, like the way I do it, is like I have an idea or whatever. I do it on the guitar on my phone. I hum it on my phone, and then I do it on like an acoustic guitar and a bass on my phone. And it gets a little. They're like 15 seconds or 30 seconds. Then they're 50 seconds, and then I try to get the arrangement on the phone. And I have this whole process, you know.
Oh, cool.
And then
I
I record all
use
the
my
instruments.
notes and the voice recorder a lot as well.
Yeah. And then I record them all myself. I play them all myself, and then I hand them over, and then they get way better after they get in the hands of people that can do them.
Before we move on from there, what do you record them on?
I use like a Tascam DP thing, like a 24-track.
Okay, cool.
The ones where you just put them on the CD right there.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff about those all-in-one units. Our friend has a Zoom, and it's amazing what that thing can do.
Records live shows and everything with them.
I use that Boss 200 looper.
Yeah.
And and usually like I'll do a chorus that sounds in loop like an octave or something, and get a chorus I like,
Yeah.
and then I'll write the whole song on that Boss 200 looper, and then just record it with it playing through my amp and
Yeah.
use voice recorder.
Okay.
Or sometimes, like, we got Super Trick, and I would do, like, a little video and mic things up and,
Oh, there you go.
and do a video so Kirk could see what all the chords
Exactly
I
what
was
the chords
playing.
are.
It's
Yeah.
less work to do later and put it into tab or whatever, right?
Yeah,
So-
that's for sure.
But
Yeah.
the process, like, for me, is, like, I'll try to get a general, like, I want to hear the whole song visually in my head with vocals usually too.
Yeah.
And I'll do a quick draft, like, of the chorus,
Yeah.
and usually write some basic lyrics.
Yeah.
And then I send it to Kirk, and it always ends up a little different when you do it live.
Yeah.
But generally, like, it'll somewhat stay within the vibe that I wrote the lyrics initially.
Yeah.
And And then Kirk will add more lyrics, right? Because I'll write like a couple verses and a chorus, and Kirk writes and adds on and everything.
I always find those first words that you write as well are almost just like helping to shape the melody, just the way that the words are, and then you can sort of, when you go back over it, you can pull out the duff ones.
But it's like it's from like the standpoint of Kirk being the singer, right, and me trying to write a whole song. There's sometimes where songs won't make it. You know?
Yeah.
That's why I love when Kirk writes the song, because we know those vocals and everything are going to work, and it just is done deal, right?
Yeah.
Like it's always it's something that I've lived with every band or every song I've ever written. Like sometimes the vision in my head, it's the fucking best song I've ever written, right?
Yeah.
But then you get it, and it just doesn't click with the band for some reason, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes a song I'm like, this song isn't gonna go. It's not really gonna be that great. The singer will just make it magical. I'm like, I never thought in a million years this song would have made it.
I can relate to that, absolutely. So that's quite interesting. So a lot of it's coming from one of you guys. And if it comes from you, you send Kirk all the stuff, and then he just kind of builds on it from there. And then if it comes from Kirk, just records it on like anything, it sends it over to you, and you get it back and forth. And then at that point, what happens when you got that?
Then I
far?
put it on a CD, right? I record them all, kind of polish them.
Yeah.
Everything's all panned and stuff. Got some backing vocals a little bit. But then I send them out, and then this is historically too, just the way it's worked out. Okay?
Yeah.
Because I don't see it going this way going forward. We'll get on that.
Yeah.
Too. It's very interesting. But I send it to John, at the time. So John listens, and he's like a hyper professional when it comes to it.
Excellent.
And so he'll listen to it, and he'll get exactly what I meant, because I have limitations on all the instruments.
Sure.
But I think the feel comes across, maybe at least, because it seems like, I don't know if he just chooses to honor what I did,
right?
Because he kind of at least puts a nod to everything in there.
Yeah,
it's really cool. But he does stuff that's impossible for me to do.
Sure,
he makes it 10 times better and adds stuff. And so sometimes he does something so well that we'll add a part because of it.
Yeah.
And then with Rocky on this album, so Rocky joined before this album was recorded, which is very, very nice.
Yeah, for real.
But all the way up until that point, I had been playing the songs on bass, right? And then, so I had them in my head, and I had some songs written so simply, like a new thing for me, to where I'm like, okay, this type of music is for everyone. I'm going to go try it, and did something really simple with some melodies and some choruses and stuff like that, and left some space for some active bass lines.
Yeah.
In hope that we got a good bass player, and we did. And so everything that I've listened to all those times in my car, all that stuff, mixing it, all those stuff, I had it in my head a certain way. And then when we went and recorded, I said, okay, here you go. And he did it however he wanted, and I didn't say anything. It was totally different than what I thought.
That's awesome.
And so in that respect, he with the notes given and the length of the song and the tempo, he wrote that whole sections,
Nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Basically, because
Rocky has some very interesting ideas on bass.
I didn't know.
I've been in a band with him for years, different times, and you're an excellent bass player. There's no getting around that.
I appreciate it, man.
I didn't know what was going to be on there.
Rocky's a legend, man. So you guys got a good one with him.
Yeah, no
we
doubt.
We have punk rock bass solos on this album.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and they're
That's
boosted
awesome.
and they're recognized.
You playing with a pick sometimes?
Oh, like the whole record's all pick.
Yeah!
Oh, yeah. There was some stuff, honestly, like I'm going to give a shout out to Andy. Seeing him playing No Name stuff live, he uses a pick. And I would listen to it, I'm like, fuck, why didn't I do that for like Stubborn as a Mule or just like that pick tone? So I think it was been a few years, like when the pandemic happened, I was like, I need to pick up something. I didn't mean to do that. But, or did I? But just learned out working with the pick, and this music 100% calls for that. So it's a lot of fun stuff to noodle around
Sometimes
with.
going really fast with a pick, though, man, is a challenge.
Oh, man. It was like a creative limitation. I would say I'm a faster playing with my fingers than with a pick, but
I'm saying
it made me focus on so many elements. I think I was like other than like gang vocals and stuff, the bass was recorded last on the record. I personally like listening to if there's a scratch vocal or a melody there, so I'm not interrupting or talking too much.
Yeah.
Or listen, dude, the drum story for the record is awesome. I didn't get to meet him before in person when I joined the band, but I heard all the drum recordings. And supposedly, like, you like did it without listening to anything, like just by memory.
Yeah. It's just a click in my ear. That's it.
Dude.
Wow.
And like the
No, he didn't want me in the room, anything.
no
That's-
scratch,
yeah.
no
Very unique.
reference,
That's cool.
and
Yeah,
play
that's
along.
just how I practice normally.
Yeah.
It's legend, man. There's cats who go to 11. This is 12.
Yeah.
So I was hearing this stuff, and I'm, trying to play with the pick, and this guy's going full force. I'm like,
Yeah.
it was awesome.
That's
I think it was a
awesome.
great result.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
So how did you guys record the previous 2 albums? Where have you been recording all this stuff?
We've been going to Full Sail.
Okay. Cool.
So we just have the contact or whatever, and then we just go do it like the students. So we just be patient.
yeah.
And we do 3 songs on a Wednesday and Thursday, basically. So on a Wednesday we'd go at start at noon, get out at 5, track the rhythm for 1 song, then 5 to whatever. Then I did think 3 a day, twice, and you get a good skeleton for a song at least, and it's tracked perfectly. Thank you.
No, that's neat.
Yeah, it's tracked really clean that way.
Yeah. Well, what's the studio like there? I've never been to that one.
It's absolutely state of the art. It's enough to
They
draw
have
people.
everything.
That's awesome.
It is what it's like.
Yeah, they've
the result
done a
of
lot
a Cold
gold
War.
albums, though, right?
It's like the result of a studio Cold War for schools. Basically, they have everything. That's how they get people there. So
Yeah.
it's gorgeous. They have everything. We get complimented on it. Whoever mixes it. And it's not the case this time.
right.
But anyway, they seem to have done a really good job. You just have to be really patient because they go at their pace.
Yeah, sure. No, that's really interesting. I really want to go check that place out now. I'd never thought of that as being an option. I don't know why, but now you say it, it's obvious.
I think there's like some
Wonderful.
like Reverb Nation, like if you submit something that was like
Yeah.
one of the opportunities you got.
Yeah.
Right.
There were some previous bands that we've gotten to do like a day, and like
Mhm.
they have like the Neve console, every mic.
Oh, wow.
They had your Marshall rig.
They had the Neve console there?
Yeah, dude, they had stuff.
Wow.
They have all the essentials of like showing how to record in tape, digital, Pro Tools.
Oh, wow.
It's interesting. It's cool, but definitely the patience factor. I remember one time.
A lot of people have my amp, that JC M2000. There was
Oh,
one
it's great,
when I was
man.
over at Power Station, I was about to drag my amp in there, and it was like, "Nah, I just got it. I got one right here."
Yeah. It's like right before the DSL, right behind you. So it's
Yeah.
like that same series. But dude, that amp is a workhorse, dude.
I like it. Yeah. So what were you saying? Sorry, I
Oh,
interrupted you.
good. No, I was saying like he was talking about. I've had a different experience, but I remember one time I brought in an amp head, and he's like, "All right, you guys gotta like mic it up." And I see a guy come in, and I had the amp in the stack, and the guy grabbed the 57 and mic'd the amp head,
bless his
and
heart.
walked away. And I saw it happen, and I had to be the dude to go up to the professor and be like, "Hey, can you check my mic, please?" And he looked at it, and I was like, talking like, "Oh man, my students are great, are awesome, like good team," and just this derpy kid, just like, "All right, it's mic'd up." Just hear the sizzle
They
of
are
the tubes
learning.
or something. But it was awesome.
The good news is you could develop a relationship. I would suggest develop a relationship with them because if you're kind, you follow their rules or whatever, it's fun. It's a
Yeah.
little restrictive as far as sitting there and really trying stuff and doing what you want.
Sounds like it would be good for a really, really high quality live recording. Just
Yes. I learned stuff.
yeah. Like maybe Killbilly should go down there and check it out.
Do a little something.
They'll do a
I'll
full
tell-
video for you and everything.
Yeah.
Professional.
I'll tell you what, Rocky. That's a great story, and and they're students, so you gotta gotta give them a pass and everything. And I won't name the person, and I won't name the venue because it's here locally. But years ago, I played a show, and the sound person at the venue did that to our guitarist. So it was a little disturbing.
Yeah, that's a bad sign for sure.
And,
It's so stressful when you
was a
when you
terrible
just
show.
know for a fact that the sound guy has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
So stressful.
That and they're like, "Bro, I just got in a hit and run." You use a line out, or you got a direct line for this thing? What, dude?
I've got to the venue before, and the sound guy has been so drunk that they're passed out like in the middle of the floor.
Yeah. Sometimes it's better than if they're tweaked out. You know.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
You're like, it was good right there, bro. It was good.
Totally. I mean, you guys are in a punk band, and I did a lot of touring in those kind of venues that punk bands play, and every now and again, you definitely see some interesting sights, that's for sure. So where have you guys toured since you've been a band, since the inception? I know you were out in California quite recently, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. You guys want to take any of those?
Yeah. Well, it was my first time going to Cali, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
Kind
neat.
of running in. I think we did like one show in the World Class Hut. Was that the spot?
Doll Hut?
The Doll Hut. Yeah, the Doll Hut.
Anaheim,
That place was
California.
groovy. Anaheim. We played with DI.
Mhm.
That was
Cool.
awesome.
And
That was
Bridget the
groovy.
Midget?
Bridget the Midget.
Oh,
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I got so many
I
messages
have
about that.
a lot of
dude.
pictures, and I just want to put one up, but
Yeah.
if I ever run for office, like
I'd wait. I'd wait till after the
Just
office
wait.
run.
Just wait.
right now, I got
Or
like
use it
that
as the
ironic,
slogan,
like-
use it as advertisement for it.
Go ahead.
But we played there. I think we did Las Vegas the next day. We played
I
with
love
the
playing
Cop
Vegas.
Patrol.
I've had some very
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
we
was
got to
a-
see Matt and Paige.
cool.
Oh, yeah, it was
They
on-
came by. It was nice.
Yeah, shout out to Matt and Paige.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Big up.
And then Sunday,
Oh, L.A.
Yeah,
Then
they went to El
LA.
Segundo, right?
Yeah.
we played with Fang,
Redondo
We
Beach.
played with Fang.
Dr. No,
Dr.
Stalag
No.
13.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
tight.
Sounds like you had a great time.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, it was
fun.
really nice.
It was super.
Yeah.
Just to see appreciation of like punk roots and just
Yeah, man.
just hearing all the stories before ever going to a place like that. I was like they had to deal with my ass being like, holy shit, it's like Disneyland everywhere. I was like, this is
Well, this is
awesome.
something that actually I wanted to touch on a little bit. Because Rocky was saying learning about punk rock roots and things since being in 1983. What I'm curious about is I'd like to know a little bit more about your journey through punk rock over the last 40 years. I mean, it's been a long time. So have you guys played in multiple bands together over the years, or has it been separate? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Both. The first one was conflicting interests, I think, and we were like, there's these Mystic Records compilations that were famous for throwing 40 bands on there. They're like from the Valley, Oxnard or something. Like No Effects came from there, Dr. No, all these like real hardcore bands. Anyway, so we'd get thrown on those compilations and stuff and played a lot of local shows. And we're considered probably second wave Orange County punk
Gotcha.
rock. And what that was, first wave was probably Agent Orange and those guys,
Right,
Social
right.
Distortion.
Sure.
And Adolescence and stuff.
Yeah.
And then us. So all those guys were our bigger brothers or our bigger brothers' friends. All
Yeah.
the same high schools and stuff, but just missed them by 4 or
Couple
5 years.
Yeah.
So we played, filled in various bands, their bands too sometimes. And then what else? You had Araya and some other bands.
Yeah. So like that, I was in a pretty big band called Araya,
Right.
and that was we did like a 4-year stretch, and I think that we were kind of our own worst enemies in that band. If we would
Right.
have just stuck it together and not like dwelled too hard on the emotional things with music and
Yeah.
and would have just chilled out and kept
It's always the way.
like we were
I can
too
relate to that.
hyper focused on like perfection.
Yeah.
We were good and everything was great and we should have just relaxed,
Oh, yeah.
But things don't work out sometimes, and anyways, that kind of faded out, and I just did some like fill-in stuff with a few bands here and there.
Yeah.
Nothing too serious, and I like playing with my friends, That-
Sure.
Yeah.
and
Sure. That's the way it works, man.
So
Works
Camaraderie.
best.
Hell yeah.
so there's just something about that the difference in like when we go on tour, right? It's like I love Rocky and John, but
Yeah.
I've known Kirk all my life.
Sure.
And it adds a whole like another element and a whole nother
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
just a whole nother aspect to touring when you're doing it with someone you've been friends with your whole life.
Yeah.
Totally.
We just met John last year before Europe,
Right.
right? So we
Where
had
did you
just
go in
met
Europe,
him.
by the way?
So our drummer couldn't go. We had this tour or this European thing, the Rebellion Festival, right? And then John had a storage unit right next to mine, and we had no drummer, but we had to leave in a month. And I
Right.
just hear him shredding, and I'm like, oh my God.
That's awesome.
My wife's like, you got to talk to him. I'm like, I'm just going to leave him a note. She's like, no, you need to go talk to him. So I talked to him, and I told him, like, yeah, we're going to go play in England. We got this festival, and, we're this band. I'm right next to you. You're awesome. We're totally desperate, blah, blah. He's like, oh, yeah, sounds killer. That sounds awesome, yes.
And I was like, fuck yeah.
Yo, what did you think when I walked over and asked you?
You caught me by surprise. I was kind of in shock. You said like, yeah, we got a couple Europe shows coming up or something, so casually and everything. I was like, wait, what? So I just like came out and talked to him, and I said, yeah, sure, man. I'll come in, and that was that.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then like just going off of that, the first time we practiced with John, right? To have somebody come in and already knew all of our songs, basically, right?
Yeah.
Because
And-
you cared that much at the beginning.
And
Yeah.
and when not as a guitarist, I'm not a drummer, and as a guitarist, I have a vision of what the drum should sound like, but I can't put that into words and explain it.
Yeah.
But that feeling of like when he came in, and I knew in 5 seconds, the
Yeah.
first song, right when I heard him play, I'm like, this is
okay, that's
just,
good. Yeah.
I'm like, we're so fortunate.
Yeah.
I just had like chills
Yeah.
when he first started playing that, just hearing, and it brought the songs just to a whole nother level. And he's so fucking good.
Yeah.
It allows me to write like
More challenging.
yeah,
stuff,
more it's not like more challenging, but songs that some of our previous drummers just would have kind of flopped out on that style
Sure.
that type of progression or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's able to hold those together, and it just opens up like a
Well,
whole new
a punk
style
band
of
is
writing.
A punk band is the drummer, and then there's some other guys. It's so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
It's-
There's a lot of truth in that.
I just love
yeah.
playing.
Like it's simple. It's like even if a drummer just with their BPM in a song, they're just changing the BPM. Like John can play at speeds
Yeah.
that other drummers we've had couldn't handle.
Yeah.
Like he's a fucking machine.
He goes
you know?
12, dude. I was insane. Like, I had to go
I've
11.
I've never had to tell anybody to have to slow down or drop it down 4 BPM.
I just love to play. I mean, it's who I am. It's my passion. It's my life. I mean, playing with these guys has been great. I love like traveling all over the place. Like when we went to California and stuff like that. That was my first time actually going to like a different state to actually play a gig and stuff. So I'm just like, whoa,
cool.
and then Rebellion was a different country, and I'm just like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
man.
So
let's talk a little bit about you guys' gig. Have you guys played it before?
No.
We just last year.
Last year, right? Gotcha.
We were supposed to play 2020, but the pandemic hit.
Okay, yeah, because I love that festival, and I've played it a few times over the years, and I was just saying to you earlier that it almost feels a little bit like more of a convention, like more of like a meeting of punks than a festival,
Yeah.
It's like everyone is there. It's ridiculous. You find yourself in a hotel room with like Cocksparrow or something. It's like the
Yeah.
weirdest thing.
That's exactly what happened. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely
it's
couldn't believe it.
unbelievable, man.
We were scheduled to play on an introducing stage in 2020.
Yeah.
And one of the bands on there was Bob Villain, right?
Yeah.
And so it's us, Bob Villain. We're supposed to be like the last band on the introducing stage or something. And we get this notification, oh, you guys are getting promoted. You're actually not going to be in the introducing stage. You're going to be in the main stage, right?
Right.
And so we ended up opening. It was us, then the Samples, then GBH, Exploited, Discharge, Subhumans,
Yeah.
then Coxbar
Yeah,
or something
sick.
like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Did I say Exploited?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe it.
I
We
know.
were so lucky.
It's all these people that the thing about punk rock is it's so accessible because even though these bands are really, really big bands, by the same token, you meet anyone in the band like that and they just want to hang out with you. They're not like
Yeah.
rock stars at all.
I have had multiple sit downs and lunches and stuff with people I met from there all over the country already.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where else did you go in Europe around that time?
That's it. There I was in Amsterdam and stuff like that. This time we're going to stay out of England until the last minute. We're going to go to France and Spain and then England.
I've done a lot of gigs in France. It's quite strange in a way because you get to the venue and then they want to feed you a load of food, and so you're all sat there like big
You're ready to
bellies
take
full of
a
food,
nap.
and then it's like midnight or something, and you're just completely exhausted, and you have like a food hangover, and they're like, "All right, time for the gig."
Oh my God. It's going to be completely new.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's 300 punk bands in England that week playing.
Yeah.
So to really find good gigs is really tough. You know,
Totally.
You have to be represented by a booking agency, and we're not yet. And so we need help with that. I've been reaching out
Have
to
you
people.
heard of Hidden Talent booking? I'll talk to you about it after this.
That would be
It'd
wonderful.
Perfect. But the
I will do fucking anything. Just book me some gigs. I see some blank tour booking, presents this, and it's like this perfect gig. I'm like, oh my God, that's what I want. My daughter's in college now. Okay,
Yeah.
It's just me running around loose. I can play anywhere, anytime.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm really trying to push us for stuff, and so I just emailed the other day. We will pay you to book us some gigs on this week, please.
Yeah,
Please help.
yeah.
I can't even get a call back.
Well, I know a couple of people from back in those days, so I'll give you all of that.
They probably
info
don't like
later
it.
on.
Yeah,
But, yeah, like it's just nice to be around the table with a punk band. I just love the whole scene of it, and I lived and breathed it for a really long time, and glad to see you just at it, doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and sort of finding each other in Florida, and then this whole rocketing up a new version of the old sort of like synergy that you both have. It's just super cool.
Yeah.
We do have 35, 40-year-old songs we play right now.
That's awesome. I love it. So, the other questions I have is, one of them I don't know necessarily how this is going to go, so I'm going to ask it. Do you guys individually still practice your instrument in a kind of dedicated way, like you're practicing the guitar? Do you still do that?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
90% of my time is focusing on tone.
Okay.
So I have way too many guitars, way too many amps.
Yeah.
Not big on effects really.
Yeah.
But I have kind of like some tried and proven effects that I've used for pretty much the last 10 years. But I'm really I work on the tone for the band mostly, and
That's important.
that's how it makes me practice.
I was going to say that's practicing.
It does.
Yeah.
Because what ends up happening is when I'm practicing and listening to tone, not really thinking about a song, I'll play a riff and I'm like, oh shit, that's a killer riff.
Yeah.
And then I'll record it real quick and it ends up being a song.
Yeah, that's
But
great.
I don't really go in and sit down and watch a YouTube video or something.
Sure.
And most of our stuff, I don't want to be a polished guitar player and be a lead person. Most of the stuff I want it's simple,
I hear you.
octaves or really 50s kind of guitar leads. Real simple,
Yeah.
No,
absolutely. What
But-
about you, Kirk? You practicing these days?
I play our set unplugged maybe every other week.
Okay.
And then every time I pass the guitar one night, or every night at least, I'll pause the TV, my wife and I'll be watching something, I'll play one or two songs really quick.
Yeah, sure.
And then, I don't know, I only play our songs really.
Yeah.
So I only have time to play our songs right now.
No, I hear that.
But,
and you can hear in Kirk's playing, his
Yeah.
improvement, he's became so much tighter.
Oh, excellent.
And
I had never played the guitar and sang.
Yeah.
Oh,
in a band.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
No.
And, yeah.
No. I've only played the drums in bands.
Yeah, wow, more power to you, man. That's quite a transition. I kind of get the feeling I know the answer to this, John, but what about you? You practice?
Oh yeah.
Probably 20 hours a day, I feel like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, practically almost every day. It varies in duration from day to day. It can be anywhere from like 20 minutes to like 3.5 hours, depending on what I'm doing. But but I'm always trying to get better, like always trying to improve, like speed, chops, groove, trying to get it like more and more in the pocket and everything.
Yeah.
You know, always trying to improve.
That's excellent. I mean, you can't knock that.
Isn't it at Drums from the Grave? All one word on Instagram?
Correct.
At Drums from the Grave?
Okay.
Is there any letters
He has
after
a
it?
YouTube channel.
No, you can just search Instagram for Drums from the
We're a
Grave.
big fan of his drum.
Yeah. No, that's badass. So yeah, at Drums from the Grave. Everyone check that out.
Yeah, for sure.
And and Rocky, you practice quite a lot, don't you? We talked about this before.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes it's a lot of. I think right now it's been like a lot of learning and appreciating of music and kind of deep diving. Whether it's like if I'm focusing on a band or a certain style, is just kind of like going through its history.
Yeah.
Hearing like, learning about pick stuff, I was just like, all right, let me listen to this group and try to branch it out and see where it goes and whatnot. I'll jam along with it.
Yeah.
So
Digging.
yeah, so it's like there's always. I never feel like my practice is consistent because so many things changes and the juggling of projects and whatnot. But practice is important.
Well, I just these
practice,
days I
kids.
enjoy it.
Practice,
It gives me an
kids.
excuse to get out of the house and go and sit on my own and do something quietly. So, well, not quietly, but like it's a bit of a meditation for me, especially the hurdy-gurdy with all the drone.
Oh, dude. That's the coolest thing. Practice, I bet. Hurdy-gurdy's so
Put that in a
sick.
punk band.
Hell yeah, dude.
If I have a song in my head, it'll be until it's done. So it'll be like a 16-hour process or something.
Yeah.
I'll pick it up, do it, record it, put it back, play a little bit more, record it, put it back.
Yep. No,
But
I can
it'll
totally
happen,
relate
yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
Once you get that little spark of an idea, it's got to.
Then I'll play every day for 2 or 3 hours a day for a week, and
Yeah.
then I'll record it and I'll forget about it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like exercise that demon. Okay, there we go. So I think a good thing for us to do right now would be to listen to some of your music. So why don't we do that, and then we'll come right back.
All right.
Nice.
This episode and our festival are sponsored by Pure Honey magazine, and it is a staple down here. It's been just such a resource for South Florida music scene. Why don't you tell us a little bit about them, Ollie?
Yes. Back in 2011, they went old school with the physical zine that provides both a service to the South Florida scene and a vehicle for businesses to get their messages out to a growing segment of readers who continue to embrace and admire a retro product.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't know if you've ever read Pure Honey magazine. I'm sure you have. They're all over the place, and they're really great.
Yeah. Pure Honey has been around for quite a while now, and it is an absolute resource for musicians, for music, for shows. They have an amazing online calendar. They have an amazing calendar in the physical magazine. It's just been a huge resource for shows and musicians. And we are very, very fortunate. They reached out to us when they saw we were doing our festival for the second time this year, and they reached out to us and immediately said, we want to sponsor. How do we get involved? So having someone like Pure Honey involved in 561 Music Festival is absolutely gold to us.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes us feel official. So thank you, Pure Honey. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much, and big props to Pure Honey for stepping up and sponsoring us. This episode and the festival are also sponsored by Backsaver Chiropractic Care and Therapy. These guys are absolutely amazing. Dr. Christopher White over there, great chiropractor, amazing just individual, amazing person, huge supporter of the arts and the local music scene. They were one of the very few sponsors, one of the only almost sponsors that we had for the first festival. When we had the first festival, Dr. Chris White stepped up to the plate and said, "How do I get involved? I'm going to do this. Let's do this." And was one of the purchased one of the top tier sponsorships that we had for the festival last year.
So kind. We couldn't have done it without it. It really saved us. So we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And this year, when we announced the festival, I don't think I had even finished the announcement that the festival was going to happen, and he was reaching out again. How do I get involved? Let's do this again. And once again, they are our top tier sponsor. So, thank you very much to Chris and his whole team over there. If you guys are involved in an auto accident or any personal injury issues, you have back issues, anything like that, go see Dr. Chris White. He's absolutely amazing, and Backsaver, those guys are all amazing over there. They do the massage therapy, they do the adjustments on your back, anything like that. So definitely go check them out and tell them we sent you, and tell them thank you for being huge sponsors of local music.
Yeah, excellent chiropractors and also patrons of the arts. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
561 Music is brought to you by Handlebars Bar and Grill. It's a biker bar in Tequesta, and if you're driving up US 1, you come across it on the right-hand side. It's a little bar there. It's bright yellow. You can't miss it, with handlebars on the sign. And it has a long and storied history. It's been there. It used to be called Judy's, and it was run by this guy Victor, who sadly passed this year, R.I.P. Victor. And then my father-in-law took it over, and he's doing a great job up there. There is a bike night every second Thursday of the month, and there is a jam every fourth Sunday of the month. If you're interested in that kind of thing, it's just an all-inclusive, any kind of music, any style, any ability type of a jam. And there's great beers on tap, and they're wonderful food. Bernsey, the chef, does a fantastic job. If you're interested in classic cars or classic bikes, there's always that kind of stuff hanging around there. It attracts that sort of a crowd because it's called Handlebars Bar and Grill, so it makes sense. And you should come swing by. It's definitely a local spot and has a lot of character, and there's people who have been going there for decades and decades. It's one of those places that's a part of the furniture in Tequesta, and you should definitely come check it out. I booked the music for the place and love doing it, and I was a part of helping set the place up, and I'm a huge fan, and anyone who is interested in biker bars, or even if you've just never been to one and you're curious about what a biker bar is about, you should go and check out Handlebars Bar and Grill. We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Carver Bar is in Seagrape Square on Indian Town Road, and it is a carver bar. If you don't know anything about carver, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where, you know, that brings people together. You all take a shell of carver and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a carver bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of carver bars. Some of them are more like a club, you know, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing. And some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And yeah, Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Root Carver Bar. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band, and his band, Unemployed Youth, accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. There's no age limit here. We run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio, a live stream venue, and we can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in, and it was a real success. But outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. It's north of the gas station, right before you get to North Lake on Military Trail. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there. Thanks. All right, so seeing as we were just talking about Live Music Community, which is a place where people learn how to play music, do you have any advice for upcoming musicians, guys? Anyone got anything they want to say on that?
I mean, I'll start. I just think it's important, just, stick with it. It's a little frustrating at first, but, after a few weeks, you'll start to go from playing maybe guitar with one finger, then playing simple chords, and maybe after a year, classical music. I mean, I've seen it before. In college, I took a music course. That was really helpful. It pushes you quite a bit and can take you to levels that you might not think possible.
That's for sure.
I've got two things real quick.
Oh, absolutely.
Just one is you gotta love it. You know what I mean?
For
Just
sure.
love it. Like if you love it,
Amen.
like keep loving it, and don't ever forget that.
Yeah.
Don't ever forget that. Second thing is, I'm gonna say something I don't really hear too often. Most people say practice, 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 which is pretty much what I do, but still I want to stress the importance of rest as well. Like it is important to rest. Like don't just keep driving and driving and driving until you keep going, because that's something that I'm actually learning over time and trying to get better at, is learning to actually rest. Because I can't tell you like how many days I go in there and practice and like I'm not playing as good as I did before and stuff, and it's just because my muscles are tired and everything. So,
No,
so
I relate to that, and I try and work that in. It usually ends up getting worked in just because of the way that life is, and it just a couple of days rest here and there doesn't do any harm at all.
Yeah, important to do both.
It
Practice
sounds like,
and rest.
It sounds like a prescription is required for more shows. I think. Right? It sounds like, yeah.
No, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, man. You got any advice for aspiring musicians there, Rock?
Just I didn't think about it. Can't think of one right now. But it's just that it's a fun, not really advice, just more just like it's just a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Some things like drumming can be physical and whatnot, but it's not like gonna go do a sport, be in the sun, go crazy, lose energy when you learn a song or make sound out of something like wood and strings and whatnot. It feels really cool.
Yeah,
and it's
enjoy it.
I think the advice for an aspiring thing would be like if you thought about, I want to write a song or I'm gonna be on a stage, sign yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, just have fun.
So,
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, just have fun. Do it.
For a band, it's clear for me, like the advice I would give, and that's stick together. If you're good and you stick together for about 4 years and play an average amount of shows in your area and around and are kind to people.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
actually invite people to your things, and you have to set up shows with other people in other towns.
Yeah, that's
if you do that
and
in 4
sticking
years,
with
you will get very popular.
Yeah, tenacity and patience,
Yeah.
and just keep at it.
Yeah, like you're gonna as far as playing a guitar, like I was so frustrated at the beginning, I felt like I couldn't do it, and then I just let it go for 10, 12 years. But the truth is, like, you're going to be like 4 years older anyway. You might as well get a little bit better each year.
Yeah.
Like who's
that was my dad's thing. My dad always used to tell me whenever there was something I was trying, and whether it was a college class or whether it was music or whatever it was, every time I started something, if I was ready to drop it, he would say, why are you dropping it? I'm like, it's gonna take me like 5 years to figure this out, and he would tell me, well, 5 years from now, the day is going to come and you're going to be 5 years older, and you can either have that skill or you can not have that skill.
Yeah, that's good advice.
And that is truth.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So we have some gear picks. Can we take a look at some of your gear and have a chat about it?
Yeah, let's do it.
So what we got here?
Okay, that's my my primary head. That's a Seriatone.
Okay.
And that is based off of a Jose Arredondo modded 1969 Plexi.
Interesting.
Wow.
Basically, that head has a very similar feel to a Plexi.
Okay.
It has a real thrashy, just very, very aggressive mid-range.
Excellent. That's
And-
my kind of tone. That I love that, like with a Rari mid-range.
Yeah, so it's quite vicious, that guy there.
Yeah.
And then that combo, that 212 is a divided by 13. My good friend, actually, Fred Tacone, started that company. And
Right.
I
Divided
was
by
with
13.
him through the whole thing, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he started building those heads with one of my dad's. My dad had a company.
building cabinets.
Yeah,
Weren't you guys?
he was using my dad's shop, actually,
Ah.
my dad's cabinet shop, to do those initial heads and cabinets, the
Interesting.
shells, right?
You sound like a good person to talk to about
And,
this. I got to bang heads with you
Yeah,
about this
yeah.
at some
I'll
point.
have to
Great
send
gear
him
chats
this.
with him, dude.
Yeah.
Send him the link to this, and anyways, not to go too far off, but I do have divided by 13 heads too. But the Plexi styles, obviously, because we do have such a big influence from musicians that were using that style head.
Yeah.
We try to keep that tone
Yeah.
within our band, but it just gives you a little bit more gain,
Yeah. Okay.
a little more sustain.
Sure.
It's kind of like in between a a JCM 800 and a plexi.
Yeah,
really.
okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering when Marshall was going
It will
to come
crunch.
into this conversation.
Yeah, it'll crunch, but it's got that viciousness of a plexi.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, very very interesting.
Mhm.
I love all that kind of boutique stuff, man. You can just lose yourself in
There's
that
something
world.
else really interesting too.
Oh yeah.
Shane is completely in charge of tone in our band.
Okay.
So
He sets the
Makes
tone.
sense though, right?
well, yeah. Anybody that knows Shane would know, because so we played in California, a few weeks ago, and one of our friends from a band we used to play with in there said Shane's doing the same exact thing. When we're playing, he turns around and he's turning a knob, and it takes 30 seconds to turn the knob. Nowhere, maybe a fraction of an inch.
Sure, yeah.
He turns back and turns it back in the next song. But he does hear stuff that other people doesn't hear. So he's completely in charge of he hands me what to play.
Right.
The guitar, the head.
Nice.
I'll get used to it. It'll be 1-2 years, no more than 18 months. He'd be like, "Oh, we're going with this.
Right.
I
Yeah.
can't deal with this anymore." I'm like, "What do you mean can't deal with it?" But he
It's been
understands
like
something that I don't.
Ticking away
yeah.
in the back of his ear.
He understands something I don't, and all of a sudden the separation goes whoop,
Yeah.
just goes way farther.
Wow.
So
That's
he's mindful.
super.
That's so whenever somebody says, "Oh, we've got a head" or "We've got a back line," we're like, "Oh,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
thanks, I guess."
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear
The tone
that.
really matters for us.
Yeah, just not to go too far off topic, but I just wanted to point out, like I mentioned earlier, I have a lot of amps or whatever, right? And what Kirk just mentioned, when we tour, right, a lot of times we're using either borrowed gear or whatever. And I actually just picked up this, it's almost like a pedal board. It's called
Yeah.
Blue Guitar Amp 1,
Yeah.
right? And that will give me pretty close to what my Jose clone will do.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but it literally, it'll fit in your carry-on.
And it's interesting
And
to hear
it's-
someone like you endorse stuff like that. The reason being that, you could be really, really into tone and awesome amps, and finally the technology's kind of caught up. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I don't know if it's not all the way. I don't think it could ever be all the way, but it's virtually all the
Yeah.
way.
Are you
Yeah.
suggesting some type of model or something? Is that what that is?
It's not that. It's not
Because it is
considered a
completely new
modeler.
for him. Like
It-
you're right on
Yeah,
right
yeah.
on
It,
point. 'cause
it's
if that's what
literally
it is.
it's a 100-watt amp.
Oh, it's
tube
an amp. Okay,
amplifier.
I thought it was a model. Gotcha.
No, it's
Okay.
a 100-watt tube amplifier.
And you can just plug it
and
into-
and it has three presets, right, built off of the owner's 3 favorite Marshall amps.
Oh, what's
Yeah.
it called again?
It's called a Blue Guitar, is the name of it, and
Yeah.
it's called an Amp 1, and he has.
Blue Guitar Amp 1.
The Mercury is the
Searching
one
it up
I
for
have.
you,
That has I liked it because the JCM 800 vibe in that one
Yeah.
has that kind of 2203, more vintagey.
Yeah.
And then he has the Iridium. It's a little tighter bass, but it doesn't quite have that honky mid range that I like that
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
Marshall. And I have a Boss EQ on my pedal board
Yeah.
that any type of amp that I end up getting, I can usually tweak it with my EQ
Yeah.
to
yeah.
make it close enough to what I can.
Is this thing just a head though, or is it there's speakers and everything, or just a
No,
head?
no, it's just
I already
like
have it in
literally
my
think of
Sweetwater
like.
cart.
Oh, he already pulled it out.
Oh,
too.
yeah,
it's in a Sweetwater
two-
cart.
It's
Yeah,
a,
it's in my
Everybody's
cart right
Yeah.
now.
We'll put a picture up of this maybe
Well, yes.
afterwards. It
Yeah.
looks like it's a pedal board, but it's an
it
amp.
looks so the
Yeah.
pedal.
Has it got tubes
yeah,
in it?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's got
crazy.
a tube, a Russian tube
Right.
that he sourced that was used in MiG fighters or whatever
Oh,
from
wow.
Russia. So the tube is actually hardwired,
Yeah.
right? And he said that since he's been in business, not one of those have come back for a tube issue.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, those things look great.
And there's some like I don't just buy anything. Like I
Yeah.
did the whole YouTube, and there's some trusted people on YouTube that if they back that
Jenna Marbles is one. Jenna Marbles. I
was
think,
kind
is
of
good.
enough, and I just went and did the Guitar Center used gear and found one for like somebody threw it up. You know, sometimes you find jewels on Guitar Center
For sure.
that are
Sure.
way underpriced.
Yeah. No
So
doubt.
yeah, I think I picked mine up for like $300.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I
I'm gonna get one.
yeah, so
not
I
kidding.
I'll
grabbed
send you the
it,
link, bro. I'll send you the
took it to the studio, threw it in, boosted it, because JCM 800, right? Typically for our stuff, we always like to boost it with a tube screamer or something. And I mean, literally, I was blown away.
Wow.
Like when you go up to my first test is I always go about 5 feet from my 4x12 Marshall cabinet, and just play like a G chord, and
Sure.
and if it just makes me, it feels like it's just crushing my chest in, it's approved, and that does it, like
Excellent.
just like a plexi would,
I'm so looking forward to
I was
hearing your
just
guitar
gonna
at
say
the
though,
festival.
man, like you know, Ben uses this part of the show to do his shopping. So one of these will show up in his pedal board soon. There's no doubt about it.
it's almost
There's
no doubt about it. That's going to happen. Well, I'm at least going to try and get my hands on one and have a go on it first. But you know, but they look so awesome. It's badass. So, what is coming in the future for you guys?
Tomorrow, which is this is coming out very soon, right?
Yeah,
It's coming out-
so-
this will come out tomorrow at midnight. So
Yeah.
So
Okay,
yesterday.
So yesterday. So anyway, we've got a show in Miami coming up tomorrow, and then we've got what was going to be our album release show at Respectable's Patio Friday, March 10th
Right.
at 11 p.m. for free.
Okay.
We're going to be playing the 14 songs on the album and a few of the old ones.
nice.
We're going to be playing 19 songs, I think.
Excellent.
And
that's what I set up,
then after that, we've got the 561 Music Festival.
Yeah.
We're so appreciative. You know?
Yeah.
And the good news is, if anybody's listening, we're not a thrash punk band.
Wink, wink.
We personally guarantee your safety.
Kidding, not kidding.
There is a fear circle when we play. But it's totally unwarranted.
Okay, gotcha.
It's totally unwarranted.
Yeah.
Like, we encourage people to go up and down and not the crazy, like,
Sure.
Yeah.
karate stuff. You know? This is not SpongeBob. So,
The giant foam hand.
yeah, I would love a safe slam pit somehow if we can do it without looking weak.
You can figure something out, I'm
Some
sure.
way, I would love for those days to come back where it's all when
Yeah.
you go up and down instead of side to side.
No, I hear you. I hear that.
But yeah, we got stuff coming up. We got Rebellion again this year in August. We
That's
got
so
those
nice.
things coming up.
I'm jealous,
We're gonna
man.
go to,
so many of my friends go to that thing still, and I'm dying to go back.
Yeah, we're really lucky. And we're putting together a New York, Boston, and Philadelphia thing that these guys don't know about. I think I might have mentioned it. But
Say what?
okay,
Yes.
I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you
Say
about
when,
it.
man.
Yeah, just say when.
I'll tell you about it later.
Well, that's great. What have we got coming up, Hector?
Yeah.
I don't know. We got
Do you guys like my
we got a lot of
shirt?
private things going on
Hey,
this
Hector.
this weekend.
My shirt.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah,
Have you
I think
plugged? Have you
there's-
plugged the shirt?
Yeah,
Is there
Rocky's
any
got-
Hey
gigs that are-
Justin,
Rocky's got the Killbilly shirt on.
you can
so-
buy this shirt and the vinyl. Is the vinyl out already?
We have an album
Almost,
release coming
almost.
up too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the album release, so I took that off the flyer. So we're going to do a video shoot that night on the 10th. March 10th at Respectables, 11 p.m.
Right
We're going to do a
on.
video shoot too. And do you know what the video shoot's going to be?
What's that?
I'm going to have, there's 4 specific songs that I think we're going to release videos on. I'm going to have like 6 different people. They're going to fan cam one person on their cell phones. And then there's a couple people are going to be doing the whole thing. And then they're just going to all send them to me. I'm going to send them to our guy,
Yeah, there you go.
you know,
It's a great way of doing
and
it.
just use them for the whole album.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
That's awesome.
Hell yeah, man.
So that's,
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
and we're going to sacrifice a possum.
So 3 to 6 on Saturday, I'm at the Square Grouper with James.
Yep.
And then we're playing Rybovich Marina that night. I don't know if that's private or not. I never.
Yeah, it's private for the Ravage people, and then we have a private one on Friday too at like Evergreen or something.
Yeah, that's it. And then on March 5th, Sunday, March 5th, I'm playing a solo gig. It's actually from 4 to 7 now. So if anyone wants
Cork.
to come and see me play at Cork in Hope Sound, I will be messing around with my
Hurdy-gurdy?
ever-increasing pedal board, and I might bring out my hurdy-gurdy. Yeah. We'll have some fun over at Cork in Hope Sound from 4 to 7. But have you got some words to say about the festival there?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the festival. The festival, April 1st.
Yep.
20 bands for $10.
Yeah.
50 cents a band. Justin, if you'll bring up the graphic for us now. It's going to be at Matthews Brewing. It's going to start at noon, and it's going to go until 11-ish.
Yeah.
Roughly. I mean, I think it was about 11 o'clock last year. So
Yeah.
We've got Octogato, Tasty Vibrations, Uproot Hootenanny, Jake Walden, Joey Caldereo, Bryce Allen, Libika, Killbillies, The Shake, 1983, Dominic Delaney and the Dead Language, The Buck Stops Here, Rogue Theory, Hadi, Stumble Steady, Eastway, Andy Styron, Euphobia, and Young Fiction. I mean, it's a stacked lineup.
Yeah, man.
Want to thank our sponsors, Backsaver, Oasis Root. Who else we got? We've got Pure Honey. We've got Live Music Community, Raincat Studios, Easy Teas, and of course Matthews Brewing for hosting us there.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have 2 different stages. We're gonna have a main stage. Then Matthews. Anybody's been to Matthews, they have the big main stage, and then they have that concrete slab. And we're gonna set that up with a ridiculous sound system and some lights and stuff. And if you're on the main stage, you're on the main stage. And if you're not on the main stage, do not fret. You will be just as loud and just as you're gonna have just as fun.
Yeah,
as much
it's
fun.
less than they're both real stages.
It's less space, but real stage.
Yeah.
We're gonna have
using James's dope, enormous sound system.
Yeah,
so
it'll be
fine.
ridiculous. And then we're gonna have the 561 Music Living Room. We're gonna have every band stop by through there. It's gonna be like couches and stuff, real intimate setting, and have like a 5-minute chat with each band about what they thought about the festival, or what they're if they haven't been on yet, what their thoughts about it, and if they have been on, how did it go, etc.
Yep.
We're going to clip all that together, and we're going to use that for our episode after the festival, because that is our 100th episode.
A cool time.
Yes, man, 100th episode. So we'll be celebrating.
The festival itself is your 100th episode?
Well, it will be the episode that's coming out right after the festival, like that following week.
Sure.
That's the 100th episode. So we're using the festival as the celebration for the 100th episode. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, nice.
If you
So
guys
it'll be like a checkbook. So if you just start right now, it'll be like you started on the 101st episode.
right, exactly.
Yeah, because we're going to be pumping this up. We're hoping other people do too.
So if you guys want to get some tickets, 561 Music Fest or 561musicfestival.com, either one will get you to the tickets. Click the link. The link has tickets for $10 to general admission. There's a $25 option that gives you a ticket and a T-shirt. You just tell us the size. We'll have a T-shirt, commemorative T-shirt waiting for you. The deal there is if you buy a ticket up front and then you show up later and you want to buy a shirt at the show, the shirt is $25, so you're saving the $10 admission. You're essentially buying a shirt and getting in for free. We have volunteer forms that we're going to be putting out and posting this week. Danielle's going to be posting some stuff for us. So if you have some time and you want to give us a couple hours of your time to help us, we need parking lot attendants. We need a couple more security guards. We need help. We needed help last year, but a lot of people stepped up, and we're hoping we get the same kind of turnout and help again this year.
Yeah.
We're gonna have food trucks out back like we did last year. I think last year we had 2. I think we're having 2 or 3 again this year.
We have the legendary Michael Morrison on security.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll be able to persuade him to sing a song. I don't know
we had him come up last year, and he stole the show, man. So let's see if we can get him up there again this year.
Yeah.
Of course, Dave and the crew there. They're gonna have all the amazing brews and beers that they have there at Dave's at Matthews Brewing, and. Yeah, it's gonna be a really good time, guys. I can't say enough about it. Last year, we went into it not knowing what to expect, and it was an absolutely ludicrously exciting, fun day.
It was a wonderful time.
It was an absolutely good time.
I'll never forget that one, and I'm hoping that this one can be as good, if not better.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can replicate that energy, and it was just fun last year. From the time the first band started to the time the last band started, there was just no dead air. While one band was setting up on one stage, another band was playing on the other stage, and as soon as they were done, we turned the attention to the other stage, set it off, and they started playing. So it was just constant music.
I spoke to WPTV at an event I did yesterday morning. So hopefully we can get them down too.
Yeah, man. Cool. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
We're talking to a couple of people about potentially, doing some recording and stuff there, some video recording and stuff, so we can, document some of this. Maybe we can use some of that later on, some of that footage.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have Danielle, our wonderful social media person, who's going to be there documenting it.
We have to get her on here one of these
photographs.
days.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, she's going to be documenting it with photographs. There's a couple of other photographers that have reached out to me, asked if they can come out and document in photographs. The more the merrier, absolutely. It's a real event, guys. It's a real event. 20 bands, $10. I mean, you cannot go wrong. And it's a stacked lineup. Every single band that is on there was handpicked by us. They've either been on the podcast or will be on the podcast prior to the festival. And every single band is freaking amazing. I mean, I can't say enough good things about them. So 561 Music Fest.
We were just working on the set times tonight, and I was looking through it. I was like, how do I even put this in an order? It was crazy.
Well, and it's stupid. There's this stigma, for lack of a better word, that if you're playing a festival like that, and you're, if you're on early or you're on late, you're better or you're worse or whatever. Yeah, listen. Every single slot. That was the hard thing, was every single band was good. And it's like, where do you put them?
Exactly.
So do not show up late expecting the better bands to be on late. You will miss a lot of good music. There is a ton of good bands playing.
100%.
Every band is good.
Some of the really great bands that we have on the show had gigs later in the day, so they are playing early because that's the only time they could play.
Absolutely.
So there's really no order in that respect.
No.
It's just bands all day.
Yeah, all day.
Isn't Matthews Brewing indoor and outdoor, and even outdoor they have a bunch of shade and stuff and a bunch of nice. That's that place.
Yeah,
the couches on the gravel. And all that.
Yeah. Most of
that
the
place, you could spend the whole day out there.
Most
so nice.
Most of the outdoor there is
food?
like it's probably 80% covered. Yeah, there'll be some food trucks out back.
Oh, killer. Yeah, you wouldn't have to leave.
Yeah. No. And last year it was like that. I mean, people came, they spent the whole day there. It was amazing. It was fun. So 561musicfest.com, 561musicfestival.com. Get your tickets. Get them in advance. If you get them in advance, you can tell us your shirt size and buy those kind of tickets and packages. We still have a couple of sponsorship opportunities. If you go to those websites, click on the ticket link, the drop-down menu where you choose your tickets. You can actually choose sponsorship levels. We still have some sponsorship available. So, if you guys want to support the podcast, you want to support the festival, feel free to go through there. And 561musicpodcast.com is our regular website that gets you to basically everything about us and Killbillies. And at 561 Music Podcast is all of our social medias. So
anyone would have thought you'd done this before, Hector.
Couple times.
Rattling them right out there.
Couple times. And Justin, just because it's brand new and I have no idea what the number is, if you can bring up the graphic with the phone number one more time, we will talk about the hotline one more time. We have a new hotline, 561 Music Hotline. It's 561-203-9122.
Let's see if we can do it at the same time. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
561-203-9122.
That wasn't bad. That was actually pretty good.
That sounded like a personal injury attorney.
I said the word music early on.
So guys, give the hotline a call if there's stuff that you see on the show and you want to ask us something. If there's stuff if there's bands that you've heard of, venues that you know of, events that you want us, that you want to make us aware of.
Yeah.
You have questions about the festival, anything like that. Leave us a message.
And amusing and interesting questions is what I'm looking forward to.
Sure.
Because I want to be able to read out a question on here that we found interesting or funny, and then give some kind of in the in the case of an interesting question, some kind of like good reply that
sure.
In the case of an amusing question, I'll try and think of some jokes. Not much of a comedian.
Yeah. So just absolutely leave us some questions. We'll go through them each week, and we'll pick out a couple of good ones each week, and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can each week without taking up the entire podcast answering questions. So
totally.
Guys, it was an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
Thanks
we
so
appreciate
much.
it.
We really appreciate you guys.
You guys are an awesome band and fascinating life stories. I'm looking forward to seeing you play on April 1st. And thanks so much for coming on.
All right.
You guys.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Bye.